What's going on YouTube? So the Cadillac Escalade has long been considered the luxury flagship SUV benchmark. However, this year Cadillac wanted to try something new. This is the all-new Cadillac Escalade IQ, which has a ton of cool and new features I've never before seen on an Escalade before. So, is this the coolest Escalade ever made? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, like always, we have the hood open to start out with our spec dump, but it's going to be evident right from the beginning here. This is not your normal Escalade because we have a frunk in place of where a normal V8 would be because this is electric. This is a 200 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack. It's a very large battery delivering a lot of range, 460 miles according to Cadillac. You have 680 horsepower and 615 pound-feet of torque.
Now, as far as how much space you have up here, 12 cubic feet is what Cadillac says as well. But we can't wait to show you all of what this is like out on the road. We will be doing that later on in this video. We'll also be getting things like our signature sound level reading, and we'll also discuss resale and reliability. But let's go ahead and close up the frunk, and then we'll go ahead and check out the outside.
So if you like to get a lot of attention, I think you'll enjoy your time with this Escalade IQ because every single person that has driven by today has been eyeballing this vehicle. It really stands out a lot and in distinctly different ways than the standard Escalade. So I'll just go ahead and say this is not related in any way really to the standard version of the Escalade. You'll be able to tell that a lot with the design. It's a little bit smoother, a little less boxy for that overall aerodynamic appearance, but you still have a very bold grille up here in the front. Just some of the chrome is actually replaced by lighting elements. So this entire grille does light up at night. You also have these entry and exit animations that kind of go through the entire vehicle, including with your lighting. So as we go over here to our headlights, as you can see, really bold design. You have that flowing waterfall look like many Cadillac models have and the crystal LED design. And then up here at the top, you have a dynamic turn signal indicator. Now, as we walk around to the back, before we talk about the design, I do want to mention a really cool feature that this vehicle has. It has rear steering, and that not only allows for more maneuverability when you're in parking lots, it also gives you access to something called Cadillac Arrival Mode, which will allow the vehicle to, in essence, kind of crab walk side to side across a parking lot or something like that. It's very interesting to look at. We'll put a clip in right now.
Now, aside from that, design-wise, you will notice actually quite a bit of a different look than what you get on a traditional gas Escalade. It's definitely more sloped off, and we also have a split taillight design. So you have your upper part right through here, and then it flows down into this main taillight unit. Now, of course, every bit of this is going to be an LED, as you would expect. So we have an LED brake light, LED turn signal, and LED reverse lighting down there at the bottom. You also do have entry animations as well here in the back. And then as far as your tow rating, you might be curious as to how much you can tow with this. 8,000 pounds, which actually matches the gas Escalade.
Now, as far as your wheels are concerned, you have massive 24-inch alloys as standard equipment on the IQ. These have different designs than your traditional gas model, kind of aerodynamic design. So as you can see, you have some aero covers with this alloy contrast look. You have a couple different choices you can pick from as well. Up top here, we've got a turn signal indicator built in, Cadillac logo, and of course your mirrors will be fully loaded with all the features you'd expect from a luxury vehicle, including power folding, auto dimming on the driver's side, heating, and blind spot monitoring.
At the side of the Escalade IQ, there's quite a lot to talk about. First of all, I just want to mention how long it is. This is a very big vehicle. It's a little shorter than your regular Escalade, but it's really long, 224 inches long. There's not an extended wheelbase version. This is the only way you can get the Escalade IQ, which means that it's quite a bit longer than a traditional Escalade gas model, a little bit shorter than the ESV gas Escalade. So keep that in mind. As far as some of the design elements as well, you're going to have quite a lot going on. So we have some chrome sweeping through here. You can also get an available black roof, which is something you can't get on the gasoline model. I think it really looks good, especially if you get a different paint color on the outside. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, you're going to get all of those as standard equipment, and that's even going to include Super Cruise, free for 3 years. But guys, there is an incredibly cool cabin waiting for you on the inside. Let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now, the inside has just as much interesting elements as the exterior, but before we climb inside, here's our key fob. It's pretty much your typical Cadillac key fob. It does have some slightly different buttons, though, of course, for your frunk. And you can precondition the cabin as well. Now, walking up to the vehicle, you're just going to reach behind the handle and pinch this electronic door handle to open up the door. One difference I do want to point out before we climb inside is just the fact that power deploying running boards are not available on the IQ. Now, take a look inside this beautiful interior. As you can see, there's really just a lot going on in terms of luxury, in terms of technology. But before we start to talk about all of those things, let's first talk about the seats. So this is a leather-free interior. You have basically 2 different grades of faux leather, IntelliLux or a higher-end version if you choose either the Sport 2 or Luxury 2 versions. As you can see, beautiful design to this seat. We have lots of quilting and stitching details running throughout. And the seat controls are not located on the seats themselves. They're over here on the door trim, finished in piano black. You have at least 12 ways of power adjustment, including 4 ways lumbar support, and you have available massage. Over here is also where you'll find your heated seat controls and your ventilated seat controls. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And we don't have it on today's example, but I do want to mention you have available full power doors. Now that I closed up the door, though, let's go ahead and get into the overall cabin materials. So beginning over here with our door trim, we have a leather covering all through here. You'll notice the center section is going to be a cloth trim, and then the top part will be a leatherette. You have a beautiful wood trim right through there in the center. As we move to the upper part of the dashboard, this has more leatherette, more of this beautiful wood going throughout. Of course, you have some different selections when it comes to which one you want. You have more leatherette through there, more wood and cloth along the center console for your knee to rest against. Now, because this is an electric product, you don't have that conventional push-button start. You just put your foot on the brake and that will fire up the vehicle. So let's go ahead and jump into the gauge cluster. That's where we always like to start out with. But of course, I really can't talk about the gauge cluster without also talking about this insane screen here. So this is a 55-inch display that goes from pillar to pillar. And as you can see, that does encompass, of course, the gauge cluster. So right here in the gauge cluster, you can reconfigure this to several different designs, whatever you want. You can just kind of control that with the little thing on the steering wheel. You also have a head-up display as well, which has a lot of information, and that is absolutely gigantic. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we have the latest Cadillac design. It's a 2-spoke design. You have some touch-sensitive buttons on the steering wheel as well as those real metal buttons. It is leather-wrapped with your Super Cruise at the top, and then you also have power tilt and telescoping as well as steering wheel heating. But let's go ahead and turn over here to interior storage, because when we're talking about the storage situation, this is where you'll notice a lot of big differences between the 2025 Escalade Gas and the IQ version. So first of all, we'll open up our center console here, nice felt lining, and inside you'll notice we have a lot of donuts. That's because that's our logo after all. So we like to put the donuts inside of here and check the volume of different vehicles. In this case, we can fit 22 donuts, so it's going to be just slightly smaller than the gas Escalade, but it more than makes up for that in the additional storage. So you have 2 wireless phone charging pads. They're both ventilated as well. And then you've got this right here, this just absolutely massive floating console area, just tons of storage all through here where you can stick just about anything. Now that, of course, is because you don't have a shifter down here. Your shifter is up here on the column. It's electronic style. Just pull down for drive, press up for reverse. When you go into reverse, this is our 360-degree camera system. It is, of course, standard equipment. You can change between a few different views by clicking these buttons right here. And then just press the end right there for park. Now as we move back to the center console area, you'll notice we've got this control knob. This is for the infotainment system. It has also a touchscreen. And then right next to that, you have a volume knob for a series of different AKG audio systems. So what's standard is a 19 speaker system. However, you can get a 36 speaker system. You can even get a 40 speaker system if you get the executive rear seating package. We've got the standard version. Let's go ahead and give that a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is excellent. When it comes to this selection, I said it before, really you're just picking if you want awesome sound quality or like just the best super sound quality, because all of their AKG sound systems are fantastic. There's speakers all over this interior. Okay, now let's zero in here on this floating display. This is mostly used for climate controls, as you can see right here on the display right now. One of the unique things about this Escalade IQ is the fact that it has 5 zones of automatic climate control. So you've got both that passenger, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and then 1 even in the third row, and you can control all of those right here with this display. There is nice haptic feedback as well. Now you can also get to some of your like seat settings inside of here as well, and you can control the back ones too. This is also where you turn on and off your headlights in case you're wondering. And you can also make some adjustments to things like your rear steering and activate that arrival mode. Now up here we have the trailer brake control. And let's go ahead and pan up to the main display. So again, this is part of this giant display. It does have that latest Cadillac software. So that means it's kind of an Android-based system. It has Google Apps built into the system itself. So you have things like Google Maps, Google Assistant, all of those nice functions. Now, one thing I've got to point out is the fact that just like across the entire General Motors electric portfolio, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay have been eliminated. So you will not find those features on this display at all. You can get those features on the traditional gas Escalade still. It's just the IQ that won't have them. And then we might as well continue on this direction and get into that passenger display. If I tap that, it's going to take that screensaver off and bring you to the home page there. As you can see, you've got some functions that the passenger can enjoy, including streaming YouTube from your favorite, Car Confections YouTube reviewers. That would be a good use that you could do that. You can also use Hulu, things like that as well. And you can't see that from the driver's side. Up top here, we've got the auto dimming mirror with the special camera functionality. And then up here at the top, I actually don't have anything to engage with. That's because this glass roof is fixed and it also does not have a sunshade. As you can see, it is tinted, but this is the one condition that you're going to see this in.
But now let's check out this all-new Escalade IQ's rear seat, because let me tell you, if you're looking for a cool Escalade, you certainly will find a cool rear seat here in this model. Now, before we get into all the details and features, I do want to hit your space figures. 41.3 inches of legroom and about 40 inches of headroom is what Cadillac says. Now, those are very good space figures. It's actually going to be almost identical to the gas version of this vehicle, so no space sacrifices for this IQ. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", I'm 5'9", and we are looking at 9.5 inches of additional knee space, plenty of room. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seats, and the seats do slide forward and back a good distance and recline a good distance as well. So overall, a very nice seat capacity here. We have the captain's chairs, which are actually standard on all IQ models. Now, what's not standard on all IQ models is the available executive rear seating package, which is new this year, and it's going to add all of the really cool features that you've been wanting in your Escalade. It's going to add heating, ventilation, and massaging, power adjusting second row seats. So all of those really fancy features, including even like a table here in the rear, are available now. Now, as far as features are concerned, we have vents here in the center. Since we have a more modestly equipped one, this is actually the standard trim level. We're just going to have this screen. This is an 8-inch screen, and this will allow you to adjust your own climate controls for both the second and third row. Additionally, on the corners, you'll find heated rear seats. Those are standard on every single Escalade IQ. Down below that, we do have 2 pop-out cup holders. They fit the Stanley water bottle, so they're Stanley approved. And then down below that area, 2 USB-Cs, 2 HDMIs, and a household outlet. Now, why do we have those HDMIs? Well, it's because we have the rear seat entertainment screens. That's an available option here on the Escalade IQ. It's 12.6 inches. You can do things like watch YouTube and Hulu. It's a pretty high-resolution screen setup. Now, if you look at the door trim, one thing we are missing is rear window sunshades. I'm a little disappointed by that, but we have really nice materials, lots of leatherette, lots of cloth, and a decent amount of door storage, although it will not fit the Stanley. And let's go ahead and check out the third row. This is an Escalade after all, so how do we get back here? To get back here, you just push that button once. That's going to fold the seat down. Once more, we'll actually pop it out of place. Do keep in mind you would have to remove a child seat with this setup. We'll be curious to see what the full power seat folding mechanism is, but at least with the manual setup, you would have to remove a child seat. And now that I've gotten back here in the third row of the Escalade IQ, let's talk about the space. Now, legroom figures are coming in at 30 inches of legroom, 37 inches of headroom. So if you're curious as to how that compares to the gasoline version of the Escalade, it's about 3 to 4 inches less of legroom than the standard wheelbase version and about 6 inches less legroom than the ESV version. So quite a bit smaller, and there's also going to be less headroom. So keep that in mind if you're routinely using your third row. This definitely is a worse third row than the gas model. Also, I am noticing the thigh support is not as good, and with the seat slid all the way back, I'm barely looking at about 1 inch of additional knee room. My feet can slide up underneath of the seat, though, so it's not too uncomfortable, and you have 3 rear seats back here, and the center one actually does have a headrest. That's something that the gas model does not include. Now, as far as features, we have a nice padded armrest, a cup holder, and a USB port. We're additionally going to have vents coming out of the ceiling, and it's actually for all 3 passengers here in the rear. So if you're keeping tabs on the seating capacity, it's going to be 7 passengers as a maximum. As far as how it rates on the third row rating scale, I'm going to say this is fit for the in-laws. Now, walking up to the tailgate, of course, you do have a Power One as standard equipment. You just push the Cadillac logo to open that up. It's their new auto sensibility as well. And let's talk about the overall cargo capacity that you're going to find back here. Now, one thing I'm happy to tell you is that really the cargo capacity is almost identical to the gas version of the Escalade. So we're sitting at about 23 cubic feet behind the second row of seats, 69 cubic feet if we fold the third row down, which we can easily do because a power folding third row is standard. I can also easily fold the second row down, and as a maximum we're looking at about 119 cubic feet of space. Now, if you're curious, how does that compare to the maximum on the regular gas model? That's only about 2 cubic feet less, although if you buy the ESV, that would make a bigger gap, that's for sure. Now, let's go ahead and get our cargo length, width, and height figures here in this Escalade IQ. This is a Car Confections review after all. As far as the cargo length, 93 inches of length. That's really, really good. It's actually going to be a little bit better than the standard Escalade. From behind the second row, 55 inches. And from behind the third row, expect about 23 inches of length. As far as the width, that comes in at a whopping 50 inches wide. And the height comes in about 29 inches tall. So that's actually quite a bit shorter than the gas version. Underneath of the floor, there's a tiny bit of space, room for a charging cable, but we do not have a spare tire. Well, guys, here we are in the all-new Cadillac Escalade IQ. We are incredibly excited to show you what this new model is capable of. While we're on this test drive, we'll be getting things like our hard acceleration as well as our sound level reading. So let's go ahead and start with that hard acceleration to get the fun out of the way.
All right, we're going to hit velocity mode here. See how it goes. That was 70 miles an hour.
That's fast.
Yes, sir. It is definitely a fast Escalade. That is for sure. So, with this model, as we were talking about at the spec dump, obviously you have a very large battery pack, and you have dual electric motors to deliver to you a lot of power, 680 horsepower to be exact. That's in the standard configuration. When you press that V and activate the velocity mode, that actually temporarily boosts you up to over 700 horsepower, right?
Yeah, a lot of power. It's 750 horsepower, 785 pound-feet of torque. So, as you can see, this is a very big vehicle. You saw that on the outside of this review. That acceleration shows you just how quickly you can get up to speed, when you push that button as well as the gas pedal.
Yeah, definitely. Really fast. And of course, you probably don't need me to tell you, but this is a very heavy SUV. Just the battery pack alone is something that would weigh like at least a couple thousand pounds.
Yeah.
So it's very impressive that this feels quick despite having so much mass.
Yeah. Now, as far as that battery pack is concerned, it is a 200 kilowatt hour usable capacity battery pack. So really, really large. That is for sure. Keep that in mind. And that's going to be for every single Escalade IQ. Oh, wow.
It really rears up when you take off, that's for sure.
The physics don't lie. All of that weight is being shifted to the back.
You can feel the weight for sure.
Yeah, now as far as how far you can go with that power, well, Cadillac says 460 miles, which is really, really impressive. You heard us talk about it at the spec dump, but 460 miles of range is really one of the best and longest range EVs that you can buy on the market right now. Of course, that's courtesy because you have that 200 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack. So if you look at efficiency, it's not going to be like the most efficient EV out there. It's decently efficient still, but 460 miles is definitely long enough for some of you guys to be doing multi-state road trips and not have to worry too much about the range. Alrighty. And we are going to speed up here and get our sound level reading. As you can see, we have our climate on fan speed 1 as well as the second and third rows. So let's go ahead and get our sound level reading going 55. Pretty good, pretty good. 55.3 decibels is what we are sitting at as our Car Confections sound level reading. We actually are here in our home state of Kentucky, so that's an official sound level reading. And we can see how it compares to other luxury SUVs at carconfections.com/sound level readings. Now, among other luxury EVs, that is going to actually place it a little bit, just kind of in the middle of the segment. It's not going to be like the quietest option. Ironically enough, it's the Cadillac Lyriq that has our quietest sound level reading so far. So maybe the fact that this thing is, bigger, taller, boxier, that is going to mean that you're going to have a little bit more noise entering into the cabin, but it still feels very quiet overall. The glass is also really, really thick. Now, as far as ride quality is concerned, I'm sure you're very curious about this. Now, the Escalade IQ comes standard with 24-inch wheels on every single model. That's, just a standard feature on this. And as far as the ride quality is concerned, I have to say it's pretty good. We also have a standard air suspension and standard magnetic ride control. So those two systems definitely help aid that large wheel size and give you good ride quality overall. Although I will say, comparatively to other luxury SUVs, this does let in some of these sharp intrusions that those would be canceling out. So keep that in mind. And we have yet to drive an Escalade gas model with the 24s, but I also feel like that would have a better ride quality. We drove the Tahoe that also has an air suspension with 24s, and I feel like that has a little bit better ride than this.
Yeah, we were hypothesizing maybe that's just due to the weight.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of weight when it comes to this vehicle.
You hit a bump and you're going to slam down on it.
But definitely don't interpret it that this is a bad ride quality. Far from it.
Now, as far as your charging, because that will be an important part of owning an electric vehicle, Cadillac says you can go up to 100 miles of range in as little as 10 minutes on DC fast charging. So that's a pretty good rate. Of course, that would be important because this battery pack is very large. So if you're just charging on a level 2, I would expect it to take a little while to charge.
All right, and let's go ahead and talk about today's Slam Dunk and Airball. So for the Slam Dunk, we asked in the introduction, is this the coolest Escalade? And I think that might be yes is the answer because of the unique features. So that really is the slam dunk, is just the fact that this does things that Escalades have never been able to do before. It has a lot of unique things that, perhaps if you've owned different generations of Escalade over time, this will feel like kind of a fresh new experience for you.
Yeah. Now on the Airball side of things, we will point out that there are a couple drawbacks for choosing this electric version, that namely the third row I think is a big deal. It's definitely going to be quite a bit smaller than the standard gas Escalade, but also the price difference. We were really hoping that when the pricing came out of this model that it would be very close to being price parity with the gas Escalade, and unfortunately that's not the case. It is going to definitely cost significantly more than the regular model. Yes, you do get a few additional features, but it's definitely a pricier choice, especially if you get into those top-end trim levels.
Now, you saw me go around a corner earlier. Of course, this is a large SUV. It has a lot of weight to it, so you do have a reasonable degree of body roll, but you have more of an agile feel than you might expect because of that rear steering system. So, again, that can actually, really help you when you're cornering as well as just parking lot maneuverability.
Yeah, it can actually do up to 10 degrees. So for those of you that, frequent, crowded parking lots or whatnot, that certainly will help you be able to park a little bit easier. And lastly, as far as your warranty is concerned, you do have a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic warranty. Powertrain's going to be 6 years, 70,000 miles. The battery is warranted 8 years and 100,000 miles, and you do also get your first service visit complimentary covered by Cadillac. And let's talk pricing. You knew all this wasn't going to come cheap, and indeed it will not. It's actually quite a bit more expensive than the gas version of the Escalade, this IQ. We start at $127,700 for this base luxury one trim level that you've seen today. As you move up the trim structure, of course, it goes up in price. $148,200 is the Sport 2. Now, this model, as seen today, is about $134,000 once you add in a couple options like what we've done on today's model. If you're looking to buy a Cadillac Escalade IQ or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. Now, first up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Cadillac Escalade's resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth around 40.7%, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 14.6%. Now, it's worth noting that is definitely going to be on the lower end as far as resale value by percentage. It's going to be, that's typical for a luxury brand, but it is less than even other luxury brands such as BMW and Mercedes-Benz. Now, I do also want to point out with electric vehicles such as this Escalade IQ that does sometimes negatively or positively impact your resale value. Definitely just is a little bit more dependent on the current market conditions.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Cadillac is rated just slightly above the overall industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values or reliability data, as well as our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be it for one of the first in-depth reviews of the all-new 2025 Cadillac Escalade IQ. This, of course, is a very cool vehicle. And if you enjoyed watching, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this on such cool products. Also, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel. I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support because you make this all possible, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.